Living in South Florida on a modest combat veteran's pension means sometimes you have to take whatever work comes your way, even if it's on the questionable side. That's how I found myself agreeing to a buddy's offer for a temporary gig as a night watchman at a local cemetery. Night shifts usually didn't bother me, it was the graveyard part that gave me pause. They say every job has its own flavor, but this one left a bitter taste before I even started. It was a sweltering July night, the kind where your shirt sticks to your skin like a second layer, and the air feels like it's closing in on you. The cemetery was bordered by dense thickets, snuggled up against a foreboding forest, making the whole place feel like a secluded chamber far removed from the comforting buzz of city life. The only path to this secluded spot wound through a thick underbrush, unlit and unwelcoming, a stark reminder with each step that this job might have been a mistake. Despite my reservations, the need for extra cash won out, and I found myself geared up for the night with nothing but a thermos of coffee and a couple of turkey sandwiches for company. Before settling in, I decided to make my first patrol of the grounds, a routine check that sometimes turned up a few lost dollars among the gravestones. The perimeter was unremarkable at first glance, save for the occasional tree branch intruding through the fence, accompanied by the overgrowth of thick grass. The graves in the back were relics from over a century ago, their broken headstones and unkempt plots whispering forgotten tales. Yet, interspersed among the neglect were graves that bore the signs of recent visitors, fresh flowers laid with care. Moving towards the center, the graves were newer, but the story was much the same, a mix of neglect and remembrance. It was here, among the silent testimonies of the departed, that I spotted a log beside a shattered tombstone, evidence of a long-fallen tree that had taken its anger out on the graves it crushed. It seemed as good a spot as any for a quick bite. Sitting on that log, thermos in hand, I quickly realized the folly of dining among the dead. Each bite, each sip of my instant coffee, was punctuated by a chilling reminder of my surroundings, sending shivers down my spine and locking my jaw in a fearful spasm. As I sat there, trying to quiet the unease that gnawed at my insides with each bite of my sandwich, an abrupt, unmistakable touch snapped me out of my daze. It wasn't just a brush against my side, it felt like deliberate fingers, cold and firm, pressing into my flesh as though someone, or something, was standing right beside me, trying to get my attention in the most unnerving way possible. I froze, every instinct screaming at me to flee, yet for a moment, I was paralyzed, my heart hammering against my ribcage. The sensation was so real, so palpable, that I could almost count the fingers that seemed to grip at my sides. My breath caught in my throat, a sense of dread overwhelming me, as if the night air itself had thickened with foreboding. In a frantic reflex, I jolted to my feet, the remnants of my coffee splashing to the ground as I spun around, expecting, fearing, to come face to face with whatever had dared to touch me in such a bold, chilling manner. But there was nothing. The cemetery lay still and silent around me, bathed in the soft glow of the moonlight, with no sign of life or movement. The eerie calm only served to heighten my terror, making the touch I had felt all the more inexplicable and horrifying. With a primal surge of fear, I did the only thing that made sense in that moment: I ran. I abandoned the log, my makeshift dinner spot now tainted by the terrifying encounter, and didn't stop until the familiar surroundings of my home wrapped around me, a stark contrast to the nightmare I had left behind in the graveyard. The experience left me shaken, questioning the reality of what I had felt. Was it a figment of my overwrought imagination, spurred by the eerie setting of my nocturnal job? Or had something truly reached out from the shadows, making its presence known in the most unforgettable way? The questions lingered, but duty and the need for my night's pay called me back to that desolate place at the break of dawn. Approaching the site of my midnight terror, I steeled myself to retrieve the forgotten thermos and remnants of my hasty retreat. Clutching the thermos, its surface was inexplicably cold to the touch, as if it had been lying in a bed of ice rather than the muggy warmth of a Florida night. With my belongings gathered, I made for the guard booth, the chill from the thermos lingering in my grasp. The shiftman awaited, his casual inquiry about my night's experience dying in his throat as our eyes met. In that moment, he knew, his smile a silent acknowledgement of the unspoken horror that lingered in the shadows of the graves. I never returned to the graveyard, nor did I ever take on such eerie part-time work again. the memory of that night, the unseen touch, and the icy chill that haunted me long after, remains a stark reminder of the unseen world that dances on the edge of our reality, especially in the solemn quiet of a cemetery at night. For those who relish a true scary story, let this tale from the depths of Reddit stories serve as a chilling reminder. Some jobs come with more than just a paycheck, they carry whispers of the past that are best left undisturbed. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and for subscribing with likes and comments.